Some things are impossible to know, but it is impossible to know these things.
Hello, good day, and welcome to
Paul Schindler, podcast on things is here for you.
Not surprisingly, I'm your host, Paul Schindler. Thank you for listening.
Okay, I give up. AI is not going away as a subject of interest, mostly negative. I may soon rename this column the Luddite Review. Damn your water-powered looms. Thanks to Craig Reynolds, P.S. The column on things has been covering AI for 17 years. AI blackmail. My friend Richard Buck checks in. I have not thought through the full implications of AI, but I saw an article where I've only waded into AI enough to get the idea. It's startling. I found this through a news site called 1440, which is a good 5-minute get up to date when you get out of bed daily fix. It's a free email subscription. In a test environment, a large language model performed blackmail and information leaks. Didn't actually happen, just happened in the lab. One letter about AI failures. This from S.M. Oliva, author of the excellent blog Computer Chronicles Revisited. He was writing about a recent item in the column that said that AI is worse than useless in summarizing legal content. The Georgia Court of Appeals recently set aside a divorce decree because the husband's attorney cited several non-existent cases before the trial court. The Court of Appeals said the fictitious cases were likely AI hallucinations, and even the cases that were real did not support the legal conclusions cited by the attorney. Another letter about AI failures. My friend, Alaska lawyer Joe Kashi, writes about AI failures in the law. Some have already become quite prominent to the chagrin of the lawyers involved. The courts have not been reluctant to punish that sort of sloppy legal work with severe financial and ethical sanctions. One would think that after the first such prominent case, lawyers would become appropriately paranoid and read every alleged case cited in their briefs before submitting their documents to the court. You know, like we used to practice law in the good old days 10 years ago. Kashi had a case many years ago, prior to any sort of computerized legal research, where he was going up against a large law firm. They submitted a brief that sounded pretty damning until both the judge and me actually read the cases that they cited. We found that all the citations supported my position. The judge commended from the bench that the other party was trying to lead me into reversible error. The judge commented from the bench that the other party was trying to lead me into reversible error. That did not exactly endear the opposing party to the court. It's encouraging that the Georgia Court of Appeals It is encouraging that the Georgia Court of Appeals is savvy enough to write about AI hallucinations in its opinion. Useless AI. Some brief items about AI. Useless AI. I can tell you from personal experience that AI chatbots at Burger King and TuneCore are useless. There is apparently no way to avoid AI idiots. The same is true of people. Maybe 10% of customer support people lack common sense. 90% of AI chatbots are as dumb as a bag of rocks. Raise your hand if you've ever found a chatbot helpful. AI killing people. Michael J. Sylvan reported on LinkedIn that ChatGPT's hallucination problem is destroying lives. And it's well past time we stop trusting it. The honeymoon phase with ChatGPT is over. First AI claim. Craig Reynolds is skeptical about the claim by some IBM people that they launched the first commercial AI back in 2011. Most of the people who bought Symbolic's Lisp machines in the 1990s were not doing art for art's sake. Craig says they were doing commercial applications. This week's walk-off music was written by my good friend Clark Smith and myself. He sent me some AI hallucinations, and I used them to write the lyrics of I, set to a familiar tune. Lyrics by me, a cappella vocals by Clark Smith. I. But first, that's my opinion. I'm Paul Schindler. Thanks for listening.
Lunacy, gibberish, inanity, certifiable proof of insanity. But it isn't alive, and thus will contrive pure inventions concerning humanity. I. Its answers pop out willy-nilly in its own universe. For better or worse, it's doubtlessly foolish and silly. It tries to explain, but it just entertains with citations that have no utility. It can't check its facts, for the basis it lacks is intelligent thinking ability. I. It prints stories lacking reality, like old Randolph Hearst from the last to the worst. It lacks any human humility. Ah!
You know how Marvel movies have Easter eggs after the credits? If you stayed all the way through the AI song, here's your Easter egg, haiku error messages, this from 17 years ago. A file that big? It might be very useful, but now it is gone. The website you seek cannot be located, but endless others exist. Chaos reigns within. Reflect, repent, and reboot. Order shall return. Aborted effort. Close all that you have. You ask way too much. First snow, then silence. This $1,000 screen dies so beautifully. When searching comes loss and the presence of absence, my novel not found. The Tao that is seen is not the true Tao until you bring fresh toner. Windows NT crashed. I am the blue screen of death. No one hears your screams. Stay the patient course. Of little worth is your ire. The network is down. A crash reduces your expensive computer a simple stone. Yesterday it worked. Today it is not working. Windows is like that. 3 things are certain: death, taxes, and lost data. Guess which has occurred? You step in the stream, but the water has moved on. This page is not here. Out of memory. We wish to hold the whole sky, but we never will. Having been erased, the document you're seeking must now be retyped. Serious error. All shortcuts have disappeared. Screen, mind, both are blank. Corporate mergers. A merger of Polygram Records, Warner Brothers, and Keebler. Polly Warner Cracker. A merger between Yahoo and Netscape. Netanyahu. W.R. Grace buys Fuller Brush and Mary Kay Cosmetics, then merges with Hale Business Systems. Hale, Mary Fuller, Grace. 3M and Goodyear merge, and the new company is called Good. Knott's Berry Farm and the National Organization for Women, Not Now. And finally, Federal Express and UPS, Fed Up. Emily Dickinson, Jerk of Amherst, was a brilliantly funny parody of Joyce Maynard's writings about J.D. Salinger by Andy Borowitz in the Shouts and Murmurs section of The New Yorker. My excerpt begins, except when she was drunk. At those times, usually beginning at the stroke of noon, she became a gluttonous, vituperative harpy who would cut you for your last buffalo wing. She'd get polluted until she booted. I attempted to mend the breach that had developed in our relationship. I went on at some length about my debt to her work. She took a sip of water, cleared her throat, and replied, "Bite me, you self-aggrandizing weasel." Not the least bit seasonal, but still amusing. Here are some reasons why Santa can't possibly be a man. Men can't pack a bag. Men would rather be dead than caught wearing red velvet. Men would feel their masculinity threatened by having to be seen with all those elves. Men don't answer their mail. Men would refuse to allow their physique to be described, even in jest, as anything remotely resembling a bowl full of jelly. Men aren't interested in stockings unless somebody's wearing them. And finally, being responsible for Christmas would require a commitment. Sexist? Yes. Amusing? Also yes.